specific combos. You know, Kassadin, Link is very confident of playing against Kassadin, and then they have a plan in mind to play against something like that, take advantage of his lack of wave clear or the Gnar thing, working around his bar. But let's jump in and see what the bans start out, as everyone is on pins and needles.
What will be the focus? I'm figuring we'll see a Nidalee down here. Maybe some junglers as well. First ban to come out is Xerath, so the mid lane, we figured there'd be a lot of focus on it, and the first ban goes to it.
They might leave Ahri up and force TSM to ban it. Like, there's a chance CLG would just be willing to first pick it.
They would,
and then they're trying to ban away Bjergsen's backups. It's just, he has such a big champion pool.
Already with a top lane ban, though, that was one of the things that I thought might, go through picks and bans between CLG and TSM. There's so many viable, really strong top laners now with Rumble, Lissandra, and Gnar, and Maokai, all very popular among the teams at the moment.
Yeah, and I've also seen them share champions, too. The fact that, they both played Sion, they're both Lissandra, I'm sure they can both play Maokai. Also, Morgana is another shared champion amongst these guys. It's the most played champion for both Lustboy and Aphromoo. It makes TSM's bans, to me, a little bit strange.
Well, I think they're really just going with what they've seen have a really big impact for CLG. ZionSpartan, the game that sticks out in your mind is their dive on ZionSpartan. He's on this Rumble. He turns around, gets the double kill. Aphromoo on the bindings. Everybody has had that imprinted on their mind. And then Link with Nidalee. So TSM's bans, to me, are just, these are probably... They're not targeted at anybody specifically, obviously, but they're just the biggest playmakers that stand out when you think of the CLG team this season.
And I totally agree with that. But...
Lissandra is the 100% win rate champion.
In North America thus far. On top of that, Lissandra's really good against Ahri.
Yeah, the lockdown.
She tries to dash in. No. Lissandra can just stop her dead in her tracks. Although, let's see if Bjergsen can work around that. That's... Power picks on both sides, obviously, because they target ban pretty heavily here.
Yeah, and it is all about, whoever gets the first CC to land in that matchup, too.
True.
Ahri, if you control vision well enough, can do the exact same thing to Lissandra.
I was actually thinking more ZionSpartan's going to top lane that, and it's the team fight counter more so. But yeah, if Ahri's played well and you get the charm on Lissandra, it doesn't matter.
We've seen so many of them, get locked down and not be able to get off any of those invulnerabilities.
Yep. We saw Lissandra last game paired with a Vi, something Xmithie has put his hands on, and we'll see if he does it once again. That combination was pretty deadly, and it gives them opportunities for picks. Something CLG loves, something Aphromoo can be a huge proponent of if the rest of the team can't. And Aphromoo has been making some plays. He even drew a ban out here.
Yeah. The other thing about, Lissandra Vi combo, it's very easy to execute. All you have to do is have everyone on the same page before the team fight starts. They pick a target, and the target doesn't get to do anything.
Nothing at all.
Pretty much.
Some speed possibly to come in here for WildTurtle. Bjergsen already has his Ahri, so you were talking about that Sion and the Lissandra, Jad. It's going to be a Sion and the Lissandra.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the thing about picking up Sivir here, I really like that for WildTurtle. You want as many spell shields as you can when you're facing Vi. And when you're facing Vi and Lissandra, it's pretty much the most defensive AD carry to go with here. Even though she doesn't have a dash, dashes don't save you versus those two.
Nope, not at all. We saw that last game. Flashes being blown and still the connect happening in the engage. So TSM's composition pretty much sits on the field now. They have a support to grab. So it looks like they wanted to get all their lanes.
I mean, CLG might try and do a double AD here, says they do have Lissandra potential in the top lane, but against a Sion, it's so easy to stack armor, it might be really dangerous. They completely decide their composition with these last two picks and the style they want to play.
Yeah, and especially with Sivir getting taken away, I'm always really scared. Even though they do have Janna for, the peel and the extra speed.
Lissandra mid.
Lissandra mid, Corki for a bit of the AP as well. And we have a Gnar for the top lane, actually, for ZionSpartan to come in this game.
So, Corki pick after Sivir. I think there is a high chance of a lane swap for CLG, especially because they do have Gnar, who has that range form and can utilize it as well. Interesting level 1 expected. Not only possibility of lane swap here, but also Sion on one team always makes things that much more interesting.
Oh, man.
Hey, Mata said Gnar support was one of the best, right? It could happen, man.
He did.
Bring it on.
He did say that. The truth is under question.
And he could be locked in here. Actually, didn't even notice the little one made her way through bans here against Team Solomid and Chronologic Gaming in this one. It might just be locked in by Lustboy.
Yeah, I mean, the most interesting thing about this is Lustboy's actually only played 3 supports. He's played Janna and Morgana almost exclusively because they themselves ban Morg, COD to Janna. The Annie makes sense both from a comfort perspective and from a team comp perspective, needing to just go in. I mean, there's a lot of people online that are worried with all the hype around this game. It's going to be the longest, slowest, lowest kill TSM CLG game in history.
With all the hype?
That's unlikely with these team compositions because there's not much disengage outside of the Janna and a lot of engage.
There's definitely a lot here, especially for TSM locking in that Annie for Lustboy. Now, the thing that is only a little bit curious to me, I really thought that CLG were going to go with a Kalista late pick since they took Vi and Lissandra so early. And Doublelift is a huge fan of that champion. But going with the Corki instead, adding that mid-game power spike, really want to work off the Trinity Force because that's where a lot of the plays are being made on the current state of the game.
Very interesting pickup. Does anything on TSM side, Kobe, tell you why that Kalista may not have been picked up on the side of CLG?
I like her working around Sion as the front tank, and I also like her against Jarvan. So
the only thing I don't like is against Ahri, because you're dashing away with your auto attacks, and Ahri is basically taking all your health, dashing again and again.
Yeah.
Logo Scar.
Second time's a charm. Now is your chance to tell us who's going to win. But for this match, we're going to do something a little special. If you think CLG is going to win, tweet at LOL Esports and use the hashtag GoldenAge. Or if you're predicting TSM will come out on top, use the hashtag TSM. It'll be counting your votes throughout the game. It's up to you to make those votes. You can vote as many times as you want, and obviously it's going to be going back and forth throughout the whole game, just like the game itself, and we're about to get onto the Rift. It is that time, ladies and gentlemen. Counter Logic Gaming versus Team Solomid, and we're on the Rift.
Yes, we are. It's almost an incoherent mess of words there with COG and TSM chants.
I love it when they merge, actually. The CLM.
So lane swapping is something that we need to be keeping an eye on, or even who makes it in for the early wards. Because if you're planning a lane swap, you also want to be able to get some deep wards, which if teams pick the wrong paths, they can collide with each other.
All right, so early move up top there. Lustboy does drop his Trinket Ward extremely early. Everyone grouping up on the red side, hoping for a CLG, which is interesting because if he gets his ward down in time, you don't usually see the blue side invading that red jungle. So TSM going to make the power move in to get those deep wards. Got to lay them all the way through here to see who's going to get into the lane. Gnar's already between them, though.
Yeah, so they're going to get those deep wards down, but they're spotted deep wards. I mean, when both teams have these in these spots, it almost becomes a guessing game. I mean, at this point, they saw Sivir place the ward bottom lane, so they're expecting Sivir to be top lane. They saw Sivir place the ward on the bottom side of the map, so they're expecting Sivir to be top lane. Now, CLG, if they do decide to match, they have to walk through the wards, which would give TSM a chance to swap back again.
Yeah, Turtle's already starting off his recall as they do get that information.
All right, so it looks like they walk it out. They may actually get the matchup that they want here. And we're going to see the start in the jungle from both supports as well as the top laners. Just going to go about this a little weird, but help from the supports.
So there's Dyrus, the classic Sion start. Start on one of the camps, either Wolves or Wraiths. Wolves are generally safer, but a lot of teams have been placing that ward, and they've been alerted to the presence of the top laner taking those Wolves. Dyrus, though, no supports come to harass him while he takes it.
That lane swap was strange to me, only because Doublelift saw... never mind. It was actually totally fine.
It was strange until now.
Yeah, it was strange until I figured it out.
All right, well, definitely want to keep my eyes on the supports. Lustboy does have his stun charged up, and they are basically, them as well as with the junglers, the biggest playmakers at this stage in the game. Interesting choice for Lustboy to go back really early here. See if he can grab maybe one more ward to place.
Yep, that's exactly what he's getting. So TSM wants a lot of the early game vision. We know Lustboy to be one of those very big roaming supports to help TSM get the early game that they need and pressure any of the advantages they can. Santorin We know him to be very supporty for the team. He's actually been able to make a few plays for himself over the weeks and really show true strength with Solomid and his fellow Dane in the mid lane.
So as far as the lane swap goes, we are seeing our first divergence here. CLG have opted for a quick push. Doublelift not freezing the lane, stacking up and pushing with that first cannon minion. Whereas TSM opted for WildTurtle to keep the lane towards the middle of the lane. Gnar, though, didn't have a problem CSing as we went over the range for him. ZionSpartan going to get out of there because he doesn't want to be the recipient of a dive as they change gears.
And this is more of the lane swap that TSM wants, I think, only because of the Sion. Sion is so good in these 1v2s. He is a brick that he can be up there against a support and an AD carry. ZionSpartan, though, because he was able to hit level 3, should be okay. The little gimmick that Lustboy tried in mid lane not paying off makes it harder for them to punish here with any type of dive. And it could give us some more farm-heavy lanes.
Yeah, comes back with the extra health crystal. Makes the dive that much harder.
Comes out of lane before being able to be a tank. Dyrus may go down. He's forced to really stay back on this. Even with that ward in the brush, he's trying to get up for Roar the Slayer CSing.
Yeah, Doublelift did a good thing, bouncing the minion wave off of the turret. So even though he shoved it very quickly early, now Dyrus in a really tough situation, trying to grab some of that CS, only being able to use his Roar or taking a large amount of damage.
26 to 27 here in the mid lane. Link is actually trying to bait this one in and have Bjergsen kind of go hard at just in that little cove of mid lane. The charm hits. Xmithie very patient on this one. Two members coming around the outside, however. Here comes Santorin and Lustboy.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a party in the mid lane. CLG was trying to beat TSM to the punch there.
Yeah.
But Bjergsen, because of the way the wave was positioned, was getting there safe. Outsmarted ward position there by CLG, having the ward not where the pink is. It actually results in TSM wasting a lot of time there.
Yeah, and you can also see the difference in supports, too. Jungler backed up by an Annie support, so much more dangerous. Even though Bjergsen had to deal with that giant wave pushing against him, CLG also having that brush advantage, didn't want to take it. Stun from Annie early on, game-changing.
Yeah, on the flip side, though, with Annie roaming around, it amasses to ZionSpartan getting much more CS in that lane because he's in a 1v1 against Sivir, whereas Dyrus is in a 2v1 on Sion versus the Corki Janna. And that is paying off in top lane CS for ZionSpartan.
I'm expecting him to be big as well after that. We've seen him take hits in the early game and be down quite far. Still be a solid rock for the team. It's something CLG picked up when they got ZionSpartan, and it's worked out very well for them.
Yeah, something else working out for ZionSpartan is the change to health crystals where you can upgrade them straight up into a Giant's Belt. So
that's
taking
nice.
Frequent trips back, but every time he backs, he upgrades his defense stats in a small manner. So it makes it harder and harder to pull off a dive.
Oh, it could be first blood for Doublelift. A few more shots. They're under the turret, and he does get the kill, but it's going to be Aphromoo that secures it with the auto.
Man, that was really solid play by both Doublelift and Aphromoo there, knowing that they were going to go for the dive and Aphromoo preemptively taking the turret shots so that Doublelift can place down the damage. They did burn a lot of summoners for that, but getting the kill would have been nice to get on a Doublelift. Still worth it, though.
Here comes Xmithie, going to try and answer. Does have the Raptor buff, so he knows there's no ward. But Lustboy just holds on to his stun charge, so especially when you're facing a level 6 Sivir, really difficult to make much happen in that bottom lane. He goes straight back to farming.
So, see if there's any pressure on Santorin to make some moves now, knowing something already happened in the top lane. Doublelift getting a kill on his first Corki play of the season. So he's going to be able to play real strong with that one. Good clear by Xmithie on the pick.
Something I have to note, I was looking at the wards killed stat that we have, and Xmithie has killed 14 more wards than any other jungler in the NALCS. By far the best vision denial of any jungler. The next closest was Santorin, 40 behind him. Xmithie's killed 111, and I believe Santorin has killed 71. So the two best junglers at vision denial, but Xmithie, the ward killing master. Woo.
And I think a lot of that does come from what jungler you're playing, because a lot of the junglers that go with the Trailblazer Smite Raptor buff pretty much on cooldown, so they get really high ward clearing numbers, whereas people who go with, you know, the Lee Sins or the Jarvans and get the extra slow from Stalkers, bit lower on that score. Sion, though, with that Gnar in the lane swap, was able to use the range very effectively, and he'll take his CS lead into the 1v1 with Dyrus now.
Not having too much trouble. There's the stun. Going to be the Gnar to the wall. He actually flips him back.
Oh, didn't get the Gnar stun in the wall.
Sion has the ult. Yeah, he just missed it off the edge. Nice try, though. Aggression from Sion gets control of the lane. Looking good for CLG so far. 8 minutes in. Doublelift with that kill as they swap back to the bottom lane. Now have a bit of power against WildTurtle and Lustboy, but still have to be afraid of the level 6. Not too soon, though. Lustboy is actually only level 3 from this early game roam, so things could go wrong down here.
First thing, too, we see some early vision from CLG, starting to move that vision ward, vision line up in the blue side jungle. Man, Dyrus.
So aggressive.
Oh, if he just stood in front of him.
Then he would have been stunned to the turret, but it may have gotten him. To talk a little bit more about this, when TSM has beaten CLG historically, it's been laning phase.
Right.
Oh, actually, that's a fight.
That goes on to Bjergsen. They're able to lock him down. This is what CLG has done throughout this split, is find single picks around the map. Bjergsen just gets out with his ultimate there.
And that's that vision I was just talking about. CLG placed this first preliminary line inside the blue side jungle. They use it. They don't kill Bjergsen, but they took him so low and took out the Spirit Rush that they still have control.
WildTurtle gets himself into a sticky situation there. Ultimate to get out. Now that's 2 ults used in defense by Team Solomid while trying to protect their own jungle. Bjergsen very low. Could be making a risky decision to come in here. The team is, however, backing from the fight. That teleport from Sion called everything off for TSM.
Link was blown up, yet CLG still pushed in on that one because of the teleport coming in from ZionSpartan. That could be the dragon, but it's going to get Dyrus back in the game a little bit.
He really needed that, too. I mean, Dyrus had to use his teleport constantly to get back to lane because of the well-played way that CLG handled the early lane swap, utilizing Gnar and Lustboy going for more roaming influence on Annie rather than 2 versus 1.
Yeah, and I have to get back to the point before all the action happened of TSM historically beating CLG when they can outlane them. But in this split in particular, CLG has been laning better than TSM. The CS differential at 10 across the board from CLG is higher than that of TSM. WildTurtle in particular hasn't really differentiated themselves from opponent AD carries, and we're kind of seeing it again here in a couple of the lanes, bottom lane and top lane. The only thing that is not holding true, and the TSM is doing this game, is Bjergsen winning that mid lane. 98 CS already.
Yeah, back to that mid lane once again for TSM. Lustboy and Santorin coming to supplement the vision for Bjergsen. Spirit Rush back up. They're going to have to look to their star mid laner.
Got to make plays. We've seen Bjergsen by now have solo kills in his lane. That hasn't occurred this time, so he's still looking to get going. That doesn't mean he's not going to get a triple kill coming up in this next fight. Looking to go for the Morello Namakan in his build. Might actually have beams coming out with the build so far for Link.
He's got to make sure to get a little bit of magic resist. Just because of the all-in threat.
Too much explosion. So the ward's pushed up now for TSM, showing Pinks a little ahead of where they can defend them, but that means they're feeling good about the pressure they have, as well as a few forward wards down behind that dragon. Right now, it's all about focus as we watch Nard out ZionSpartan. Go ahead and ward. Won't be too much fight against Dyrus in this top lane, but like we said, he was able to just get back somewhat, match the CS of ZionSpartan here, so things might go a little bit better for him.
We are slowly approaching that point for Trinity Force Doublelift, though. CLG moving in one more piece for him, and they can actually bring that Corki's power over to the mid lane and try and push in here to make use of these rockets.
An incredibly close fan vote, too, here.
And a close game.
Fans holding back.
200 gold separates these two.
And TSM has actually been a team to forego early Dragon on multiple occasions. They don't really care that much about it because they want to get the farm on their team, maybe get turrets, and then take the map with vision control. This time, though, CLG was able to take the Dragon without really giving up much. Yes, Link did die in the blue side jungle, and they gave Dyrus a little bit of farm, but it was no turrets and no huge amount of farm to an individual.
Doesn't want to fully go on the fight. Doesn't have all the vision he needs, but now seeing ZionSpartan Gnar out with that aggression, they are going to try to use this to their advantage as soon as it wears off. He is going to be cooked and served up.
Baby Gnar.
Santorin waiting for the flag and drag. The baby Gnar, indeed. It's adorable, but he still goes down.
And look, the vision was completely starved out on that side of the map for CLG.
Yeah, but CLG, they placed all their vision on the bottom side. Now they're shoving the turret as well. WildTurtle just has to back off.
Yeah.
So 2 turrets of pressure, 2 lanes of pressure gained for CLG. They are actually going to get ahead in the objective trade, even though they gave up the kill with the big move top for TSM.
Well, that's the thing, though. TSM did hold off that mid lane turret. It could just end up being a turret trade with the kill unless they make a return trip to that mid lane. I'd say TSM barely ahead on that one.
Both teams recognizing they have to adapt to those rotations. CLG getting themselves to the top lane not quick enough, or rather to the mid lane to take down the turret. They do lose ZionSpartan. So TSM is making their plays and trying to grab more advantages. Now through kills, 2-1. Still behind in gold just a little bit.
All right. So much ward coverage here from CLG on the bottom side, though. You can see why they're hovering around this bottom side and taking most of their fights around here, because they don't want anyone to get picked off by Bjergsen. Really, the threat from TSM here is somebody gets caught out of position. Not only do you have Spirit Rush, but you have Sivir boosted team to pick off anybody else after the initial catch.
And it's even more of a dangerous game because Lissandra plus Vi is so threatening. They're going to try and get him.
That's the flash. Spirit Rush is down for him. Not going to be able to follow up with that distance. Maybe if Xmithie was there. Bjergsen still trying to go hard in that mid lane and force out Link. Those guys actually back and forth, 121 to 132, and fighting quite well together. Oh, that turret.
Return trip.
Oh, is it? One shot on the turret. Doublelift wasn't really helping Xmithie, and he got himself a little too far in, but it doesn't look like they want to stop here. CLG may lose the edge in these fights, but they still feel confident to stand tall.
Everything these guys are doing is being countered by the other team in some way, shape, or form. CLG trying to get that last hit on the turret. TSM knew that that was going to happen and nearly surprised them. There's been so many near kills so far in this game, and as these guys build more and more damage, we're going to start seeing a very explosive match.
Damn it, a pickaxe on Gnar for ZionSpartan. Definitely a different type of bias.
I guess he's going for Frozen Mallet.
Yeah, he would
First
be.
item.
I should like it. It would work. There's a lot of speed to be countered coming up onto Team Solomid. Counterlogic Gaming moving back into mid themselves here as they need to get wards up onto Dragon.
Yeah, the vision battle is really what we're keeping our eyes on here, because both of these teams have so much potential to burst someone down and lock someone down. Anybody who, whichever team starts winning the vision battle,
well, I feel like it's going to be
have a lot
CLG
of
now
pressure.
with double Sightstone. Having that out on Xmithie as well. They've been forcing wards in.
The other thing to watch as people hit that level 9 is the upgrade for their trinkets as well. Doublelift actually upgraded to the pink dropper for his yellow trinket, so he can actually move those around. Very rare, actually, upgrade for that one.
Yeah, but in this situation, it's almost like a permanent sweeper. This is about like zone control more than temporary control of spots.
That's shown right here. They completely have just Xmithie on it, right? The rest of the team is just kind of playing man defense in mid, and CLG pick up Dragon number 2.
Yeah, this is that situation where one team winning the vision battle, they have the fog of war advantage. So dangerous to face check.
Yeah, and now the only thing TSM can try and do is run straight up a lane or continue farming. This is really interesting. With Bjergsen cut off from the team, I don't know if TSM can stay mid. They have to respect the collapse here.
They do have Sivir. They would rather hold on to that cooldown, but it can be used to make just a quick push, try and shove down a turret, and then run out of there. However, not everybody on the same page. You can see half of them shoved up to the turret, half of them wanted to already bail, and they do not answer the Dragon from CLG.
Doublelift playing with fire here. Steps away from Dyrus there. They get out safely. The charm just missing. So Well, they know they have a little room to work around Bjergsen, but he leaves lane. They don't have any potential there. They want to be able to stop this. Xmithie taking a little too much here. Greed may get the better of him, but it looks like he can get out safe.
I mean, it's so rare you see Sightstone on Vi, but that's really what this game is about.
Right.
Santorin's going to also have to delay his item builds because he has to buy so many green wards with this vision battle. The only smites we're seeing from the Rangers Trailblazers on both sides are for vision buffs. They're either smiting the little wolf to scout their jungle or the raptors to get the oracle.
On cooldown pretty much.
Yep.
Oh, Dyrus getting hit here. TSM not collapsing. CLG have vision of that in the mid lane, and they're able to just wipe out Dyrus. The dinner bell goes off, and he just runs back
Again, you can see not quite ready to fully commit to that one. Xmithie with a half-second hesitation there, but Link making the call to go all in. That is the two giant single-target CC cooldowns blown for CLG, though, so they have to pull back.
And on the tankiest person on TSM, too.
Yeah, a little bit of hesitation.
Yet another really near miss. There's definitely a lot of pressure on this game, and you're seeing maybe that split second of hesitancy with the way they're executing here, especially for CLG needing to kind of overtake TSM here to do all their fans justice for being fans for so long.
Yeah. And you do see a little bit slower games, too, when there's so much pressure put on him. Zion does get stunned out, and he did go for that frozen pallet early on Gnar.
It'll be interesting to see what happens when they start getting these long fights in, and they just continuously use that frozen mallet to keep TSM where they want. TSM kind of floundering around the map here, finding a bit of what they want, but still pushed off of this mid-turret wave after wave. It'll happen eventually, but CLG is just gaining more.
And both teams are giving a lot of respect to the engaged potential of each other. That's why they're keeping this pretty large spacing between one another. And the only reason TSM is doing this push is because they knew Xmithie's Assault and Battery was down and Link's Lissandra ultimate was down. Gives a window that TSM can punish and evens the goal of the game yet again.
Yeah, those are the big cooldowns that they want to keep track of. As well, they're always watching the rage bar here from ZionSpartan. Zion, though, not able to push up to the turret. Dyrus getting the bottom one without answer, and he does have teleport. Already, the TSM, you can see they're sending reinforcements to top as they saw that wave building up.
WildTurtle put a brutalizer in his Sivir build.
It's actually relatively common.
Yeah.
You have a lot of spell damage on Sivir, as well as Ghostblade helping the mobility more late game. But early game, that combination with BF Sword Brutalizer is a large amount of damage.
Nice spike there for him. We do see the Trinity Force has been finished for some time on Doublelift and his support. Aphromoo picking up that Mage Eyes. And the game's going to be a little bit more bloody as we continue on. CLG still trying to dictate as much as they can. Retreating would put them in a full line of wards for TSM, but if you look now on TSM's side, they don't have any vision of CLG, so this is where it gets scary. You're going to have to be very careful of how they approach any of this dark fog of war.
Yeah, the top one, that last outer turret standing. You can see even Dyrus on Sion taking the long way around. Doesn't want to get ambushed. They're consistently pinging out every single person that shows up on the mini-map too, trying to keep tabs of everybody on the map, just to figure out where that 3 versus 1 is going to come from. Dyrus a little bit slow, though.
Bringing even more backup this time.
Oh, jeez. Aphromoo taking the turret once again. He remembers what this is like, and it's just going to take a few more shots. They nicely, again, dive top turret to find a kill on Dyrus.
And once again, it's CLG prepping the area that they're going to fight in with tons of vision.
Yeah,
all these wards dropped on the top side. They swing everybody up there through the true side that they know they have pink wards already laid down.
And they blocked the ultimate on Sion that time to avoid his retreat. Another attempt at killing Dyrus that was successful here. TSM needed to make a move to counter that, but they were caught sleeping there. They were all kind of recalling in base, not having the waves where they wanted them, and they'd already taken that middle turret, so it was much more dangerous for them to make anything happen. Now we're at 3 turrets to 3, which is the mark of a very even game.
Well, let's see who can sway it first. A bit of it is swayed by Doublelift's CS, and then equaled by Bjergsen as he is also beating his lane. Those are actually the top 2 CSers of the North American LCS right now, with Doublelift being number 1. So why not CLG versus TSM? It's fitting. 30 seconds on the Dragon. Dyrus' teleport is up. He didn't have to get back to lane with that, so they could attempt something here. but it would be very scary. CLG has had a lockdown on these fights, and they may lock down Bjergsen once more. The charm stops the Vault Breaker. That won't stop the Assault and Battery, but they choose not to.
Bjergsen's ultimate being down is really critical here. CLG can continue the dragon pressure, and if they get number 3, that starts forcing TSM to respect the 5 dragons. It's really that third one that will start the race if CLG can complete that. With no Ahri ultimate, I wonder if TSM just has to concede this.
Time and time again, we see Bjergsen using his ult in defense, and WildTurtle doing it as well.
This is third dragon, though. They really don't want to give up the speed. Dyrus does have his teleport. Looks like TSM trying to gain position here. Look at the flank from Lissandra, though. He could come in right behind TSM.
It's because of Lissandra's positioning here by Link that I think TSM did not go in there. Having no sight on Lissandra made it far too dangerous to go
That
in.
and Gnar.
Oh, Lustboy just on the edge. ZionSpartan trying to bring down the house. Hits him with the toss. He's going to take a bit of damage on this. Lustboy's forced to flash that time. And it looks like Counterlogic Gaming is going to try to actually react to set up defense on a top turret. Great job by TSM to go tops or mid to top here and get something out of losing that dragon.
Now, the early dragons, everybody's on the same page. People are fine with giving those up 4 turrets.
Okay.
But as you get to this point in the game, the third one, you start to worry a bit, especially when speed is so important in this matchup.
Yeah.
Well, it was the amount of 3 dragons that TSM, oh man, going in. CLG, don't know if they fully wanted that one. Xmithie got blown up immediately, and Doublelift is kind of hanging on the backside, missing a rocket there. Link almost getting out of this with a boomerang just on the edge, and he does. Doublelift way too close to the fight. TSM turns back hard. Is ZionSpartan big enough to carry the entire team the rest of the way through? He misses the boulder toss. WildTurtle is all out of speed ups, all out of steroids. ZionSpartan on cooldown for the throw, but he should have it back up in time. The spell shield comes out, but Turtle's still going to fight valiantly for one more kill. He can't get it, and CLG come up big on the fight.
And the fight just kind of appeared out of nowhere. They ran into each other, I think, in a lapse of vision control. After so much planning, they just clash. And boy, was it a close fight with CLG barely coming out ahead, as they have in most engagements thus far.
Such a crazy fight. Beautifully done.
Yeah, and all that TSM, Bjergsen and Dyrus peeling off from that very early, all that they got.
He has all. Ooh! Just a split second away.
All that they got done was one ward there.
See that again, look at that.
Outside jungle.
Shifts in the night.
So maybe Xmithie thought Dyrus was there, but everyone else on TSM was behind the wall, and Xmithie gets instantly blown up there.
And then the zoning here from Link. Aphromoo comes in to save him right when he comes out of his own ultimate and barely saves him. This would easily be the turning point. That was pretty much single-digit HP right there.
Yep.
Even with Doublelift on the front line. Gnar, he jumps over calculates a little bit, then has to flash backwards for the ultimate, but he splits the entire team. All 3 members surviving of TSM are forced in opposite directions.
Well, the biggest thing about the end of that fight is a lot of teams have gotten really good at playing around Gnar's rage bar, but because that fight happened so unexpectedly, nobody could keep track of it. And Sion, with all the nice plays that CLG made, shields on Link, a heal from Doublelift to keep him alive, it was that Gnar ultimate coming up at that time that really turned it from ZionSpartan. Well, and the Frozen Mallet, Gnar.
Yeah, that looks pretty annoying. We'll get the shield from the inner turret. Doesn't have to ult out of this. CLG is going to use everything they have along with this wave to try and topple this bottom turret and make their way onto the base of Team Solomid if they can. Pushed off once more as TSM obviously able to rotate a little bit easier now that the inner turrets are closer to each other, but CLG is still giving them a lot to think about. They finally have just over 1,000 gold lead, the biggest one we've seen in the game. See if they can stretch that a little bit more. It's now up to Team Solomid to start making plays. It's really the first time, other than their loss to Team 8, we've seen them on the back foot here.
Yeah, big item threshold is on the horizon for CLG, as Link already has the biggest component of his Zanya's purchased. Once he gets his second invulnerability, much more control of the battlefield.
So looking at the early game, could you reflect on it and say TSM actually came out of lanes winning with what they were going into this game looking for?
I wouldn't actually say that. I feel like CLG won the lane swap game because of the bottom lane and top lane both having advantages. The only thing was Bjergsen was able to outfarm, but that wasn't necessarily from the early game. That was just Bjergsen being Ahri and Bjergsen.
Yeah, and I want to touch on something again. I keep on checking in on this vision war because the gold is so close pretty much this entire game. Really the most telling thing is that CLG constantly have this deeper line of vision in TSM's jungle.
And it's also, look at how deep the pink wards make it into the opponent's jungle, because a lot of people can make a rogue mission, get a normal ward in there, but it's the pink wards that are the easier to clear ones and really show who feels safe going where. And if CLG has pink wards consistently on the side of TSM, it means TSM is not feeling safe.
Not at all. They have not been able to really approach these pink wards. The first half of their jungle has been owned by Counterlogic Gaming for the past 5 minutes. And for some reason today, mid lane has just been seeing a lot of fights. This is like a battle royale area. And with 1 minute on to Dragon, he's being a help to that situation. Bjergsen with blue, not being denied that this game. So the play is possibly still made from him if they can get this fight to go in their favor. But not a regular game from him either at 0-0-3.
Yep, Bjergsen hasn't been able to make those charms connect. So many we've seen just grazed right by Doublelift, which could have been big plays. But really, once again, it's CLG.
Big play.
Oh, they charmed him.
Oh, it wasn't Doublelift, but it was Aphromoo that time, Kobe. Link's there by himself. The teleport's coming in on both sides, and we're going to get some more fight going on here. WildTurtle's going to get popped. It's back and forth now as they start trading retribution kills for each other. That's Lustboy going down, but he did get Tibbers out, so he was able to help with the DPS. They start to back off of the fight, and it's a 3-for-2.
And even with the catch onto Aphromoo, it's still a close fight afterwards. That's 2 fights in a row now where someone from CLG has died immediately at the start. This time was a little bit more important with no Monsoon to clear away, and the Dragon is live. That's the critical thing here. TSM, though, not confident to go in since Doublelift is such high health.
That's really, really worrisome for TSM because CLG have stacked up their dragons so quickly. They have been taking those on cooldown. 3 already. Number 4 would put that extra pressure of CLG, and with their vision control and a 4th dragon, they would easily be able to draw TSM into the fog of war. So they really don't want to give this one up. Dyrus trying to keep them off of it.
There's such explosive fights too. Dyrus, though, he can't do much but try and delay damage onto him instead of the dragon. This is going to be close. The fight is approaching. Even if they get the dragon, I think we see a fight.
Dyrus doing his damnedest to pull them off of it. The dragon does go over. Number 4 to Counterlogic Gaming, but is the fight something TSM can capitalize? Hopped over the wall, and they're left waiting with nothing.
That puts TSM on notice.
It is so difficult for TSM now. All of the things that do not show up in the gold charts, the dragons, the vision, everything going against TSM here. They really need to get a good pick.
It shows how much has changed between these two teams, but CLG is the one with 4 dragons coming into this one. Frozen Mallet, though. There's no escape without burning ults or flashes.
This is what he was looking for with that buy. That's the ult again, used defensively by Bjergsen.
The other thing that's not showing up in the gold is the 15-stack Medjay Aphromoo on Janna. Slowly creeping up without anyone noticing. 15 pages in the book.
It's 5, so that's he had 10, and then he died. But it will creep if they win another fight.
Hey, they get the dragon. Like you said, Jat, the 5th dragon looms over the head of Team Solomid. They are now...
It's the Vision War, too. What a bold play. They already have 4 dragons.
Right into the Baron. Counterlogic Gaming putting their foot down here in a pedal to the metal at 31 minutes. They look to take Baron completely uncontested as they have their dragons. And TSM, again, left coming up a little short.
1 step faster by CLG. And it's TSM that has the Sivir to make everyone run faster. So it's not been their game quite. They need to try and get some type of turret push going, but without vision control, and because they have to respect that Lissandra initiation, and because ZionSpartan's Gnar has been pushing people around, they're just getting all the important things and close team fights.
We talked a lot about what would happen in the mid lane. Well, Bjergsen is getting going. CLG and their teamwork really coming up on top of this one. Able to control the map, do what they need to do, and push the wards forward while guarding them at the same time to keep the advantages. Here already, inside TSM's jungle, ready to take more. They have no worries about these waves to be pushed. Mid's already there, and now looking for bottom with the map objective free of Baron and Dragon down.
Yep, outer turrets next on the menu, definitely here for CLG. Baron empowered recalls allow Doublelift to get back and finish up a Quicksilver Sash for himself too. So even if the charm lands now on the AD carry, Doublelift has answers.
And the dynamic of the game really changes with Baron buffing 4 dragons on CLG. It's no longer a close battle of wits here. It's TSM playing from behind and hoping for a really favorable fight. It's now more important than ever that Bjergsen gets the right kind of charm, or that they can stop Lissandra from doing Lissandra things. If he can actually get Link's Lissandra with the Mikhail's not quite being done on Aphromoo yet, that would be the way TSM can make it back into this one.
He is just one item off of that Mikhail's recipe, so this fight's going to be done without.
Oh,
the turret going down. Thought we might see Xmithie go a little bit harder than that, but he stops after the Vault Breaker. We do actually have ZionSpartan down here. I was looking for him in another lane, but they won't need to tend to top just yet. And Doublelift feeling very safe to stay on the front line here. He's done so all game. Hasn't really gotten caught out for it.
Yeah, I think this once again is a great example of how CLG, with their strategy coming into the game, they have everybody in alignment. It's so easy for all these guys to prep for this game since there was so much pressure. Everybody was looking towards this one, but they're all on the same page here. They have the tools to deal with Bjergsen, even if he did get fed. They focused very early on in their picks, Vi and Lissandra, because they know that there is this one person on TSM that can take over a game.
Yep.
So they even had backup plans if Bjergsen on the mid lane did get out of control. And right now, it's so hard for him on Ahri to make that play, the game-winning play, to try and get them back in this game. The thing you're talking about, locking down Lissandra or something. Yep. It's so dangerous for him to go with those.
Right, like chat said, leave him up with the Ahri, but it can be locked down with Lissandra. That's what Bjergsen's been dealing with, still trying to make plays. He does have the Rapidons, a Void Staff now as well, so he can start to get through a little bit of that resistance that Link has put up.
And now 1 minute and 30 seconds until the all-important 5th Dragon would respawn for CLG if they can get this. But for once, they don't have impeccable vision control here at the Dragon. They do have the deep wards for TSM's jungle, but not the forward wards. And this could end up having to be the fight. He's got someone with the mallet. We're going to see something.
This is great time for ZionSpartan on the Gnar. Bjergsen gets to do nothing this fight. 45 seconds on his death timer. WildTurtle uses his ult to get out of the fight as well. That's going to be one more shot. Doublelift takes aim. He fires. The spell shield catches. That one's going to miss. This will go on. He finds the third one. It's a charm. And they are going to be moving on. 3 down for Team Solomid. They had nothing to say about that fight.
Link's already got control of the mid wave, and they're going to push straight up towards that inhibitor turret. Let's see if Doublelift can get there in time. That was a long chase on Turtle.
Yeah, but
he
now
should arrive.
The wave clear is pretty much pushed back. Dyrus wasn't even there. I think he canceled his teleport because the fight went so wrong.
Wow. Literally, TSM caught sleeping there.
Well, they just got caught by Gnar. The Frozen Mallet Gnar has caught them in so many strange situations that forced their hand, and Bjergsen was not willing to burn his Spirit Rush in an escape capacity, cost him his life.
Little did we know that Frozen Mallet would play such a big role, being the first item built up here from ZionSpartan. Not the first time we've seen it, but definitely the first time we've seen it being so effective. And Counter Logic Gaming now knows their power, and they're not afraid to push the advantages.
It does create a dragon fight that we get to see again, though, because everyone will be alive for it. It's just TSM is filtering in, not quite in sync because of all the deaths. Speed Shrine, Dragon Shrine, kills advantage. Let's see if CLG can pull this off.
1 by 1, less ults than last time. ZionSpartan again in Mega Gnar form. He's going to be able to do a bit of zoning, and the poke from Doublelift has already started to put TSM down. That Link ultimate just off the edge. This could be the comeback here for Team Solomid. The ult goes in. That's onto Santorin. He's pretty tanky from the Vi Assault and Battery, so he stays alive. They continue to fight. Bjergsen back in. He hits a Foxfire. Now going for another one. He's going to get a double kill. Bjergsen starts to pull the team back in the game as they control the fights together.
The only thing that could have given TSM something. Are you kidding me? Link whiffs a Frozen Tomb on himself. That's what lost them the fight. As soon as he came out of that, they instantly killed him. TSM miraculously, 1 by 1, somehow gets this fight, and they prolong this game.
I can't believe they prolong the 5th Dragon as well. Twice a fight went down to that area, and TSM finally come out on top.
They hang on for a little bit longer, but they are still very much behind. That's just one dragon for TSM. They're trying to get some more global gold back here, but really, they should be focused on getting some vision around the Baron site. That's going to be the site of the next big battle. It's coming up in less than a minute, and CLG can easily move up there. They already have one pink ward in place. As long as they just move up that line into the red side jungle, TSM having to come into the fog of war and take another one of those scattered fights, it cannot go this way again.
Watch this. Link, just ult a person, not yourself. He ults himself there, and then they kill him immediately. Santorin with the godlike knockup, not allowing him to Zhonya's afterwards. That kind of triggers the fight, and then how do they get Doublelift here? He goes crazy. He's doing in the wrong direction. I mean, everything... The only misplays that Link and Doublelift made in this game were in the same fight.
And they dumped a lot of their cooldowns and damage into Dyrus at the very beginning, too. They caught him out. Sion just soaking up so much from CLG, and he didn't even go down in the end.
He was a beast. Right after that, we saw Team Solomid take bottom turret. WildTurtle sprinted to top, got himself a BF sword, now trying to finish up that Bloodthirster to stick with Doublelift in these fights, who's also got himself the Scimitar now, so he can get more damage in. Bjergsen! Once again, no, he gets out with Spear Rush. Xmithie's way too deep for the team to save him. Now Aphromoo taking the damage, and he could go down. That's going to be worse. Dyrus calls in the dinner bell. Going to feed on Link. Can anybody help him, though, and get to the back line? All the members of CLG are bleeding red right now, and they finally solidify the kills, moving on to the next turret. A kill coming in. Dyrus goes down, but does TSM have a wave or enough control to push any more off of this?
They can do Baron. They have a smite, a support, and an AD carry. This could even give them the control to come back. Maybe they can do Baron. 30 seconds on Sion. Link and Xmithie still alive and running there with Homegrown.
Oh my goodness. TSM on the comeback path here. Xmithie going in for the Miracle Steal, though.
Oh my gosh.
They have the Vision Shrine, so they can
first,
see them.
Ask questions later. This is going to be big. They're going to turn onto Xmithie, so they stall it for now.
Link.
Oh my god, no way. It's going to happen. Their worst nightmare coming true. WildTurtle's going to get knocked out next. No, the Boomerang Blade comes out just as he can fire it off, and they actually come up with the kills.
But the Baron is still live, so everyone is going to be rushing right back here. We're going to see some more deaths, more fighting over wards. Turtle,
and the teleport.
Turtle's going down.
He killed Aphro.
Oh my gosh, no way. Valiantly, one more goes down. It is a minute on the death timers now, so there are moves to be made, but people have to spawn first.
Something about CLG versus TSM creates situations like this. CLG up 4 dragons and a Baron buff and an inhibitor, and TSM is storming back right now, closing the gap, 3,000 gold lead, preventing the Baron, winning 2 team fights in a row now. It's going to put CLG on notice a little bit, all the pressure that they could be under. And
they're giving everyone a chance to breathe.
Whew, let's catch our breath.
Halftime.
Do not step away for a snack, though. This is
This is
will be a short intermission. The thing, isn't this just the perfect story, though, for TSM to make the beginnings of their comeback with back-to-back team fights?
Oh, my.
Talking about the classic CLG versus TSM matchup. CLG, they played out the lane swap a bit better. They had better objective trading. And then once they had better ward control the entire game. And then once they finally get into the meat of it, on the brink of 5th dragon,
let's go ahead.
They lose team fight.
Let's take another look at that Baron
here.
fight. Let's see what actually happened here. Take a look as this pause goes underway, because that was intense. And overall, that pickup by Turtle to go back and get the BF sword played off huge here.
So, jumping off the Baron was the right call by TSM, and then it was literally just trying to outplay each other. Link takes a bit too much damage for Zhonya's, quite honestly, allowing WildTurtle to get him with that Boomerang Blade right away. I mean, it's such a high-pressure situation. I'd say another small misplay there by Link. And WildTurtle completely clutch here.
Count how many crits he gets. 1, 2, and the Boomerang. So that's all you need. He had a normal attack, 2 crits, and a Boomerang Blade, I think.
I'll take it.
Yeah. And then ZionSpartan's like, can I do the Baron? No.
No. He does. He was on Dig for a long time.
Thought about it.
And Coast.
Oh, jeez. Had to, didn't you?
Yeah. I guess so. So Dyrus, we'll get you guys an update on his technical issue as soon as we can. 40 minutes in right now. So the longest CLG versus TSM game on record was at that MOG in the 2013 season. It was 1 hour and 54 seconds long. That was the one that ended with the triple kill on the base and the minions killing TSM's Nexus.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say we will not reach that mark.
But we want
I think
to.
you're right. The way
would
this
be
game
nice.
is going, you can see the pace of this game is continually accelerating. It was such a low kill, strategic type game until the 5th Dragon started forcing action. CLG finally took a fight, or TSM finally took a fight against CLG and were able to win one, but now the pace continues to accelerate. Every time that Dragon is up, it's the risk of a 5th one. With a downed inhibitor on one side, if CLG gets another Baron, that's also the game. There's so many things going against TSM right now.
And the thing in this situation, it was TSM that had no choices. They had to go face check. They had to go fight this 5th Dragon. It was CLG with all the cards. They had ward coverage. They had Dragon stacks. They had time on their hands. But TSM forced the issue, create enough chaos that they've clawed their way right back into it.
And just thinking about the late game team compositions too, the Corki is falling off pretty hard. Mercurial Scimitar, no Last Whisper. He's not doing the Sorcerer Shoes magic damage build. Lissandra is the burst damage, but after that, not as much. The sustained damage that TSM has with this really farmed WildTurtle Sivir now could potentially overtake CLG if they can hold on across these next Dragons and Barons.
And Sivir is the champion that thrives in that chaos.
Red team's inhibitors respawning soon.
All right, getting Dyrus all suited up, and it does look like we're going to be good to go on this one. He is back to working form. So we're still waiting for Aphromoo to come back here. Like Jat said, we're at 40 minutes, and a lot is going to be dictated by the next spawn of that dragon. It went down recently, so you're going to have to hold your breath until then. It may have to be about the Baron.
Baron indeed.
Ward's going down.
Whoa, they just straight up started. WildTurtle, because of the death timers, they can start this right away. This is smart by CLG, but it can be stolen. The carries of TSM are too far away. I think TSM actually has to give this up.
A 50-50 is still a very scary thing to put in the hands of any team, but it is 100%. CLGs, they take Baron. It's good to see they're not shook by what has just happened. They are not kind of sitting back and saying, oh man, we can't do anything.
Yeah.
They go straight for something.
Aphromoo cutting off all options.
Right.
Not even the possibility for Santorin to jump in there. Nice knockback.
I think it was smart of TSM to not go for the steal, though.
Yeah.
Knowing that a Baron buff can end the game with
this
empowered
time as
minions.
well.
If you give up that kill and you put yourself in the death chamber for 70 seconds, it would be the game. But something TSM had no call against makes it an even better call by CLG.
Now, the CLG call right now should be shove up mid to put pressure on this exposed inhibitor to prep for Dragon. Because 5th Dragon always is on the table. Every time it comes back up, the pressure never dies down in a game like this. Once you reach this point, that factor is always going to be there. So, CLG with the Baron buff. Can they create an extra advantage up the mid lane?
Well, they're doing exactly what you wanted them to here, Kobe, but I mean, what you do against a team with Baron buff is you try and fight them. TSM wanted that flank initiation. It all depends how much poke Bjergsen can get.
Gnar.
Yeah, if they can wait out these 15 seconds, TSM might be able to find a fight.
That is technically a very big play. Dyrus actually taking it with Gnar. This should be a point they're backing off of. Only 15 seconds they have to wait, and then it could be very much theirs with a better advantage. Xmithie is getting seen out on this, and they're going to go ahead and back. So TSM is definitely able to hold their own now as CLG approaches in these fights. 20 seconds on to Dragon. Get ready, everybody. It's going to get bloody. This has to be contested here. And Dyrus doing the same thing already to start this one out. Just walking in, trying to cause trouble.
And Zion should not be able to build up his rage bar because he is exhausted from the last transformation. Gives TSM a pretty big...
It'll take a long time.
And division control isn't really there from TSM because the crab is distracting Xmithie. They're just giving up the vision control, but they do get the speed shrine.
Oh, double.
This is crazy right now, guys.
Very interesting ring around the rosy at Dragon here. Doesn't look like either team wants to fight unless it's a 100% for sure initiation. So they're just going to dance it out. A little spread out here for CLG, but they can all close onto the fight very fast with the composition they put together.
Now, we've been spending the entire game worrying about Vi plus Lissandra locking down Bjergsen, but Lustboy has a Banshee's Veil on his Annie with Flash ready. this Annie can single-handedly lock up CLG long enough for Sivir to absolutely shred them.
And they have everybody on the team.
Charm lands!
Talisman of Ascension. The ultimate to go in. Xmithie flashes out. That actually does not kill him with the ult from Santorin, but he's still stuck in Cataclysm. ZionSpartan with a 4-man ultimate, but he's now left alone. Where's the DPS coming from? Link now enters the fight. There's the Zanyas. Do they have the focus now to take him out? He still has the tomb to go down on. Already used it, actually. So he goes down. Doublelift somehow in the middle of the fight again, and he goes down. Team Solomid has easily just put this in their favor.
That's 3 kills, but nobody on TSM died. They might ignore the dragon and try and win the game.
They're going straight down the mid lane, Jat. Bottom lane is getting actually pinged out here. WildTurtle may want to stop or do something. Yeah, hit the darn turret. Need a D-man call on this one. That's going to go down. Now they're on to the inhibitor. They also stop 5th Dragon with this if they even have to go back for it. They have 40 seconds on 3 members to keep going for Nexus turrets if they want.
This would be a miracle defense here.
I don't think there's any way CLG stops this one. They're trying to cut off the minions, but there's too many people on TSM, and Dyrus is too tanky.
An absolutely amazing turn of events. Now CLG has one last-ditch effort to go for broke. TSM is just too strong. They own CLG's base here, but they don't have the minions. The focus is on the CLG. They're doing that perfectly. Now to the Nexus. It's open. It's up to 50% after being down all game. Team Solomid persevere, and they take the Powder Logic Gaming.
Coming back from the brink of 5 dragons.
Down 4 dragons, down kills, down a Baron, down an inhibitor, but not down the game.
This is why we always bring up the playmaking ability of Bjergsen. They look to their star player. He finds the charm, and Lustboy with the follow-up. Also, Santorin dropping the Cataclysm and immediately flashing out, leaving Gnar in there. Sion had to flash to separate himself from CLG, even though he got his Gnar ultimate off. Too far away, no damage to follow up.
Whoa.
Some sighs of relief there. The fans approaching the stage to throw out high fives for the hard-fought win from Team Solomid. And Dyrus just living in it.
Such a comeback by TSM.
Wow.
But at the same time, such a